Hello everyone, how you doing, Earthlings? I haven't done a video for a little while, Rosie. But I wanted to show you what I've done so far with my baby Yoda. I've kind of lost interest in all of the sculpting thing when I had Christmas happened and that, so that sort of made me take a bit of a break from doing what I thought I was trying to do. But I've been having a few problems with my baby Yoda here, I shall show you. I also want to sort of talk about just the Rise of Skywalker last night. I think this date is it now? It's the 4th of January. Yeah, 4th of January, so it was the 3rd yesterday. It came out on the 19th of December. I didn't go on the first week. I didn't go on the first week, and then I wanted to sort of get around to watching it a bit later. But, yeah, Mandalorian finished as well. Redemption. I want to sort of talk about. I'm still adjusting bits on this. I've still got the eyelids, I think, are a bit long. But I've got the but yeah, so I want to talk about the Rise of Skywalker and basically just what I think about the direction of Star Wars has gone and what I think is worthy of being called Star Wars. But yeah, anyway, let me just show you what I've done. First of all, I can see him okay, I think. Hopefully, just. Yeah, so I've painted in green just to try and get, because I was kind of losing enthusiasm with them, to be quite honest, because I was getting a lot of cracking. I'd added a lot of new clay to his face to bring out his lip and his nose a bit further and change the shape of his nose. And then I lost all the detail that I had around here, so I was continually sort of filling cracks and that, and then I just kind of I've added his material bit down the front here for the opening of his clothing here, and also I've got some nice material which go round, so it's going to go around that way, obviously. I'll connect to the front here. I think this bit is going to go around the sleeves here, which I think might be pretty good, so I've got a bit more of this. Yeah, so now he's got his Mandalorian skull as well. Yeah, I've been thinking up his hands as well. Yeah, I think his ears are. I think they're still a bit too big, really, but I'm just going to have to stay like that now. I've passed out his eyes just to try and keep the sanded paper off. And yeah, so I'm putting that sort of layer of paint on was giving me sort of a nice area, a nice sort of uniform colour to be able to fill in some of more of the sort of cracks and whatever in the surface of him. I'll just rub down what's smudged on there until I've got down to the stuff that I've filled. But yeah, I'd had one of my Thanos heads up for sale. I think it's probably asking too much money, but I'm going to wait until I've got those all finished before I put them all online. I think people can choose an expression. I want to do a couple more maybe. But yeah, so Rise of Skywalker, I went to see it last night. What do I think of it? I think the whole last 3 films were a complete diabolical train wreck of a. You know, I think actually the last film, Rise of Skywalker, was a lot worse than The Last Jedi, which is quite saying something. Yeah, I've just completely lost, but it just completely lost it all for me. It's just, it's it was just a complete mishmash, a complete pebble dashing of the brain of nonsense at a million miles an hour. But so I'm just trying to get my computer to work a little bit, because there's all these points here that are just listed in this particular video here. Yeah, so you know, right from the beginning, you get suddenly you get told about how Snoke was just made by Palpatine, and Palpatine just suddenly appears. There's no, you know, it's been about all the whole time really. There's been no pointing towards the fact that Palpatine had been about the whole time and still alive, and suddenly, you know, suddenly he has 1,000 Star Destroyers that are all capable of destroying a planet. It seems. And how he can suddenly get enough power to be able to make them all rise. All just the use of the Force and everything was just completely wrong in this film. It just doesn't bear any resemblance at all to the prequels and the sequel and the original trilogy. It's just, and Rey being able to sort of stop ships in flight, and it's got so much to it. I thought, oh, what happens in Marvel, Thanos, well, why can't Rey just suddenly become the most powerful thing? Yeah, so just right at the beginning, it's just, you know, all these ships manned by, you know, thousands of people and buried underneath in the snow for ages. Just made no sense whatsoever, none of it. So yeah, you basically have 1,000 Death Stars, you know, able to be unleashed. You know, suddenly this massive great rebel fleet turns up as well, which there must be 10,000 ships in that fleet. Just suddenly all turned up within a couple of hours of Lando going around to try and find a rebel fleet. It's quite amazing, really. And all they sent against that group of Star Destroyers was one Corellian corvette and a couple of squadrons of fighters, maybe, and a troop ship. And it's just absolutely amazing. It's just yeah, so the Emperor is just like there, even before the fly. Yeah, I mean, Palpatine. It just seemed like it was like trying to tick all the boxes the whole film. Really, it's just completely stupid. And Palpatine just coming back, and Rey is the Emperor's daughter, apparently, and apparently Luke and Leia knew about all this all the time. So he was trying to train Leia, knowing that she's Palpatine's daughter. I don't quite know how that worked, because apparently, you know, I thought that Anakin was Palpatine's son as well. I thought, but I completely ignored all that in the film, and it was a fatherless birth, wasn't it? So I was her father anyway. In the family. I didn't really understand. It's supposed to be Skywalker. The only way the Skywalker name came about was because Shmi had a surname Skywalker. She came from the Skywalker family. So I don't know how Rey became a Skywalker afterwards, because she was not the offspring of anyone to do with a Skywalker. But anyway, if anything, Ben had the more of a able to be called a Skywalker. What do you want, Rosie? Yeah, and so, you know, it's just I hate to be like the Mary Sue thing, but she was just complete Mary Sue, even more in this episode. I mean, apparently she's able to be resurrected, and she can't die now, and she can jump over ships and things. I mean, geography of it all was wrong as well. I mean, it's just like, just made no sense whatsoever. There was no, you know, when Chewie was apparently died, but he didn't die. There was no other ship there to tell you that he might have got away on another ship. It was just all nonsense. The Knights of Ren, I mean, suddenly, why they suddenly decided to start being bad at being an enemy of Kylo. And Leia, Princess Leia, she died just from doing a scream. And suddenly, apparently now, Force ghosts can not only interact and bring down Force lightning like Yoda did, they can catch lightsabers and you know, do all sorts of other things as well. So why can't they just come along and just? Why couldn't Yoda just, as a Force ghost, just come along and destroy what was left of the Empire? I don't know. It's all and Anakin as well, and Ben Kenobi and Ben Kenobi and Obi-Wan. Get them all come back. Yeah, they can all come back and Force ghost the Emperor to death. Yeah, and they just, no one dies anymore as well. So Rey kills the Emperor, and then Kylo comes and revives Rey after she dies, and Rey revives Kylo after he's been killed with a lightsaber, and Force healing, and chucking your Force life, your life force into people and things, and it's just absolute nonsense. And they got a kiss at the end as well, which is just horrible. You know, just trying to tick all the boxes, trying to make everyone happy, just trying to sort of appease everyone that wanted it. There was absolutely no romantic, thing between them at all. Yeah, so Ben dies after giving all his life force to Rey, and I don't know. Yeah, a lot of people just laughed at that point. And the Force can really do anything now as well. It's just completely misused. You can sort of stop lightsabers in mid-flight. You can stop light laser bolts. And Darth Vader just used to absorb them with his hand, but now you have to be able to stop life force. Things like that. I mean, I can understand Yoda being able to, have a force field and put up against some fire, but and force healing and that, I can understand a new thing you can do, but all of the stuff, bringing up 1,000 Star Destroyers and holding ships in mid-flight and have a duel with someone with a lightsaber 1,000 miles away, and all of this Force connecting and doing all the fighting and using each other's lightsabers. You can suddenly project over there and something. Force now is an online multiplayer. And Chewie dies but doesn't actually die. Just a load of bollocks that bit was, just complete crap. C-3PO goes for a whole montage of dying and losing his memory, and then he gets his memory back from R2-D2. So yeah, apparently R2-D2 restored Chewie back, C-3PO back to before the events of The Last Jedi, so apparently that's all a little nod back to from J.J. Abrams sort of and apparently there was something else as well. I can't remember. Yeah, now Poe Dameron is a spice smuggler. And he's basically just nicked Han Solo's story. Oh, why isn't this refreshing? showing off this little video I've got here of just turn the baby Yoda around. What is up with my internet at the moment? Why isn't it working? Excuse me while it's just completely frozen up. Yeah, come on. Yeah, it's just such a fast pace as well. You know, they've pretty much put three trilogies worth of things happening in just one film. I mean, even in the first half an hour, you could have made a film out of, I thought. General Hux, apparently he was a spy all the way along, and this new commander of the forces just kills him moments after that. So you don't get told about any of the backstory of Hux and how he was doing this like big speech in front of the First Order, and then suddenly he's actually a spy, and he gets unceremoniously killed. Like he's another pretty good baddie that just got killed unnecessarily, that could have been used so much more. I mean, or Singh brings to mind in Solo, how she was just pushed off a cliff, and then Hux dies, and Captain Phasma dies, in a completely stupid way. Who else was there? Come on. There's a little list here of people that just died stupidly and for no reason whatsoever. Why isn't my internet working at the moment? Yeah, Boba Fett as well. Boba Fett died in this most stupid, pointless way. I've forgotten Boba Fett. Yeah, apparently the Force makes stormtroopers rebel now as well, which is completely stupid. Because there wasn't only the one. But apparently, Finn is sort of really Force sensitive now, and Ghost Luke died, but can still pick up objects, and I mean, look, at least Luke died after force projecting himself and having a fight with his force projection against Kylo, which was ridiculous anyway. But he died after a bit of effort got into it. Leia just with a little scream. And then Han Solo comes back as well. Maz Kanata, I mean, she was a strange one as well. She was in The Last Jedi, and then she was just in this one, but she didn't really doing anything. She was really good. Good character as well, I thought. And Rose Tico and all these other back actors, they're always bringing new characters in that we don't need. I mean, the new friend of Finn, that other black girl, the one that was the other stormtrooper, and then there was that other the Daft Punk girl with the stupid helmet and then the really ridiculous costume that she had. And what was that all about? And why was she even in it? I mean, just don't get that. I don't understand. Yeah, and also Chewbacca gets a medal. As well, which you think is he's going to finally get the medal, but apparently there was a story that Disney had already done about this in a book somewhere about was Han actually stole this medal off Luke to pay for a bar bill for Maz Kanata's place, and she told Bo-Katan off, but took the medal anyway in for payment for some drinks, I would have thought, at the bar. So he's been a bit of a pisshead as well. I don't know how he got hold of Luke's medal, but apparently that's the one that was given to Chewie. So why Maz suddenly thought that Chewie should have Luke's medal, I really don't know. But anyway, and then at the end, the Resistance the Rebels didn't even win the war. I mean, they destroyed Palpatine's fleet of ships really quite amazingly. 1,000 Star Destroyers can suddenly not outgun 5,000 little ships. But even then, the first order was still there. So the last order was they all got destroyed apparently, because he hasn't got any other thing besides 1,000 Star Destroyers. He hasn't got any other ships or vehicles or anything. But yeah, so they got all destroyed. But the first order is still there, and apparently in the timeline between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, which had been a couple of days apparently, which could work it out as, the First Order had taken over the entire galaxy. So, for the First Order to still be there, and with taken over the entire galaxy, I don't know how just Palpatine dying now would suddenly make the First Order all disappear. I don't know where this fleet came from. It just none of it made any sense. You've got to just face it. It's just a complete. I hate the directions of J.J. Abrams even more than Rian Johnson. I think Rian Johnson to have made that. They always got to have everything much bigger, everything much on a much more grander scale, and much more over the top and ridiculous, and none of it made any sense. I mean, just the J.J. Abrams directing style was just so fast and so much happening. You just can't take any of it in. And they've all got to have all completely different aliens. The Mandalorian goes to show because they've got all the aliens that you recognise, and the prequels did, and obviously the original trilogy had the ones that we like to see. But they have to have 1,000 new aliens in each of these films, and none of them you've ever seen before. It's just stupid. Same with Solo really as well, and that had so many different millions of new aliens that you've never seen before. Just because they can do it, just do it so we can. It's just crazy. The Mandalorian just has a completely different feel to these films. It's just complete. It also, it happened in Rebels as well, with all the flying Sith lot, the Inquisitors with their flying lightsabers and teleporting walls and flying whales, and just seems to be a nonsense side of Disney Star Wars and a sensible side of Disney Star Wars. Unfortunately, the Skywalker saga became the Palpatine saga, and that all turned into nonsense and just stupid, pointless comedy everywhere. I mean, there was a lot of that in the prequels, but they tried to add a lot into the original trilogy, Lucas. But I think the Clone Wars has managed to escape the nonsense. I'm dreading what they're going to do in the final Clone Wars series, to be honest. But Mandalorian hasn't been nonsense and hasn't been stupid comedy all the way through. That takes it back to the original trilogy feel of Star Wars to me. I haven't actually seen the Resistance yet, but even things like Forces of Destiny, even that sort of had its feet on the ground a little bit still, and still kept with the lore of Star Wars. I mean, they've got certain feels. It's a space fantasy, and it shouldn't just be turned into just sci-fi drivel. The way they fly the Millennium Falcon and stuff, but anyway, flying like a blooming, like it's a blooming fighter. It's not a little fighter, it's a freighter. It sort of takes off and sort of travels about, sedately. But anyway, I think I've moaned about The Rise of Skywalker. I didn't even get onto the end, how I felt that Mandalorian went for the whole series. I thought it was really, really good. It's like we're going to find out the origins of the baby Yoda species, unfortunately, towards the end of the next season. But I think Moff Gideon, I think he was the one that found, he was always the one that brought the dark saber into it as well from the Clone Wars series, which is really good. I was that from Rebels? That was from Rebels, wasn't it? Yeah, I did like the dark saber being brought into it, and Moff Gideon, and suddenly TIE fighters can bend their wings. I don't know about that. But yeah, a great one for me was seeing the Imperial troop transport toy from my childhood suddenly make an appearance, which I thought was really good. And just the whole feel of it, all the stormtroopers and everything, they looked okay, and some couple of rather large ones, but they were quite in the background really. But the whole feel of the whole series really just felt right, and had different soundtrack, a really good soundtrack to it. And I think Baby Yoda was just one of the best things to happen to Star Wars. Baby Yoda has saved Star Wars. We've got the usual idiots. One person, apparently, one woman said that there's not enough, it's sort of sexist and whatever. So apparently now there's loads of videos saying, oh, SJWs want to kill Baby Yoda and stuff like that. But it's all the point, nonsense. I mean, I'm a animal rights activist, equality person, and I don't think I think all sexes were used in their adequacy, what is adequate for the Star Wars universe, definitely. My back is really hurting today for some reason. Falling apart, I don't know, I really am. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next season. Apparently they're halfway through filming the second season already, which is really good. Looking forward to Avatar. It's come out, that was supposed to be out last year, because it's 2003 now. The Witcher looks really good. I'm really enjoying Discovery at the moment. I haven't quite got through the end of that. I thought Vikings has fallen apart completely in season 5. I'm just really not getting that anymore. So I've kind of fallen out of love with that. So Star Wars, what else? There's nothing else coming out except for the Marvel. Looking forward to the films about that. Download loads of Marvel and loads of DC to watch, all the TV stuff. So hopefully I can get into the Arrowverse and a bit more about the what's happening in the DC, the Marvel universe. The Watchmen ended. I thought that was really good. Very involved. So I'm gonna have to watch that a couple more times, I think. So I was never really a Watchmen fan. The Lost Boys, not the Lost Boys. The second season of The Boys is coming out. There's Stargirl as well, and Wonder Woman coming out next year as well. I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, that's enough of a ramble. That's just sort of a summing up of last year, and I'm sort of looking forward to the next year, I suppose. So yeah, hopefully I'm doing with my Baby Yoda. He is going to get there eventually. I've got to puff out his eyelids a little bit, like I said, and add a bit to here maybe. I've got to do his hair. I've got this to use for the hair. I just found it, but I'm hoping that this is white here, not pink, but I think it's white. So I'm just going to find a method of putting this onto here. There's my method of sort of rubbing it down and trying to do it that way, and trying to pick up the hair from the nylon that's in the clay. Hasn't really worked, but yeah, I'll get him done eventually. So cracking down. Anyway, hope you like what I've done so far. Hope you like the video. Nice little boat going past. Maybe I'll get back into my videos now. Anyway, take care, and I'll speak to you later. Take care. Bye. It's a little closer. Put up my end screen. Don't know if you can see that. Okay, because the sun's in the way. There we go. Baby Yoda. Let's try and get the sun out.